Hey Titans, so now we're going to go into Illustrator and finish up that project. So as you can see here, I have my main picture which I unlocked temporarily because I want to make it bigger, but first I want to do something else. As you can see, I drew many pictures. These are the rows of the actual pictures, which I'm going to move out of the way now. And you can see all my vectors, which are these shape drawings. I have a range of different difficulty levels, and I also have a range of some having holes and some don't have holes. So why did I give this eyes, but I didn't give Sly eyes? Well, I just felt like this needed it to be able to tell what it was, because the shape really could have been anything before. Whereas in Sly's case, I feel like his shape is enough to determine who he is. So that's kind of like a judgment call, but I might give it to at least a couple things just to show that I know how, and you'll get those points. Now, while I was talking to you, I noticed that one of my vectors is not sealed, so I'm going to zoom in there, and you can see it's not sealed. I'm just going to use my pen tool to look for that slash to say that I'm continuing this drawing, and that circle to let me know that I'm now sealing it. And now that it's sealed, that one is back to being done. So Command 0 to show my whole page again. So the next step is to move where I could see everything and then get rid of the stuff that I don't need. So I no longer need the pictures. I could just delete it, but I want to kind of tell you to instead drag it to an area of your piece that is not near your page. So I'm just going to drag it way down here. Also, I noticed that I accidentally grabbed Koopa, so I'm going to move King Koopa back up. This way it gets it out of the way, but if I want to check your work, I could see, if I don't know what a shape is, I could see how accurate you did it. All right, so the next step is I'm going to use my magnifying glass tool and hold down the Alt button to zoom out a lot. So I could basically see all my vectors. I have some over here, I have tons over here, and I have some over here as well. I'm going to make this so it fills my page, and then I'm going to start bringing my vectors onto it, but first I want to change all their color to the same thing. I'm going to object lock this again, so it's locked in place. I object lock selection, and now it's stuck there, so I can't interact with it for now. And now I'm going to bring these over, but while I'm bringing them over, I'm going to change all their colors. So I'm double clicking here, and I'm going to change their color to all the same. It doesn't matter what color I choose really, just that they're all the same. I'm going to pick a blue like that. I'm going to just throw them on the page here, and now I'm going to do the same to all these guys. Alright, so now that everybody is the same color, I noticed that Pac-Man has a stroke. And some of these other things have strokes too. So I'm going to hold down the shift button to make sure that I have everything selected except for the things that are locked. So all my vectors are now selected. And I'm going to make it so their strokes are nothing. If you want to add a stroke, you could. I just don't need to, or I don't feel that I need to. So now I'm going to just start moving things into different places on my piece here. It could go anywhere you want them to go. You could turn them by just using your selection tool. Actually, it's not necessary to Command T in Illustrator. You could just use the selection tool and start placing them in their spots. The smaller they are, the better they'll link up to those shapes that are in it. So you'll be able to make things look more like the final product. But this next part is really just placing them wherever they can fit, basically. So I might use my selection tool to turn this and put it so it like squeezes into this little space here. And basically I'm going to keep doing that until I get all of my objects in and they fill up the space nicely. At first it might seem that things are like, a similar shape and they're better off being large, but overall it's going to be easier to make this shape accurate if my vectors are each small. And they're not as small as you think actually. When I zoom in here, you'll see that. So now I'm going to Command 0, and you can see that they're still pretty big. So basically the whole rest of this project is just placement, and you may have to shrink things. So as you can see, I put most of my things in their proper places, and this took a lot of like adjusting, changing the sizes, and just moving things around. I wanted you to see what it would look like without the controller background. So I unlocked it by going to Object, Unlock All, and now it's unlocked. So now you can see that I'm almost done. There's a couple spaces that I probably need to work out to really make this look complete. Also, this is a secret only for people who actually watch the video themselves, so please don't share this with others, but I'm going to save you some time and work. The smaller you make your pieces, basically the better it's going to look, and as long as they're still visible, as you can see what they are. Because you're going to be able to cram them into every little space. So the best thing to do is to make more vectors, but that doesn't save you any work. What does save you work is if you know of somebody in the room who has a similar theme to you, you can trade vectors with them so that you can each have a little bit more. You have to have made 30 on your own, but other than that, you're allowed to switch with other people. Secondly, like for example, right here next to, this is Ryu from Street Fighter, I need something in there, and I want to make a basically Hadouken. So I'm going to go ahead and just make that shape up as I go along because it's not important enough that I want to download it. I basically want it to look the way I want it to look. So instead of like finding an official Hadouken, I find something that basically implies the idea of Hadouken, and now I'm going to just place it there, and most people probably won't even know the difference. But that fills that space really nicely. I also saw a spot, and I'm using my arrow keys, by the way, to adjust the last, steps to make it go into place. The last thing I wanted to do is one of these shapes to put right over Ryu's head to complete that. And then maybe I'll put something over here as well, which will probably be a Triforce for Link. But that's pretty much it. One of my students at the last minute said, hey, I really think that you should do it as a Nintendo SNES controller because most of the games in here are available on that. Even though these are my favorite games, it's not a Nintendo theme, so I just took a generic, I guess it looks mostly like a PlayStation controller. So I might go ahead and adjust all my characters and put them in a second form. If you do that, and it could be any second form you wish, you're basically just changing the position of everybody to fill a new form. I'm going to go ahead and give you extra credit for doing that. So if you wish, you can do that as a extra credit project. One last thing that I'm going to let you guys do, only those of you who are actually watching the video, is I'm going to let you duplicate. So like let's say at the very end you have a couple spaces that you want to fill up to make them look good, but you're really at the very end of your rope, you have no more shapes that you really want to put in. You can all click and drag them. I just want you to do something with them, so at least turn them or something that makes them look like they're slightly different from the other versions of themselves. Alright, so I'm going to do that to one more piece. You shouldn't do this for a lot, by the way, because it is kind of a cheat. Alright, Titans, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed this project. Please go ahead and leave feedback if you wish, and subscribe.